I did not, to be honest, know anything about Arnold Schwarzenegger other than he was some bodybuilder guy. I mean, I
Oh,
wasn't.
this is gonna be the
I
best
wasn't
part,
even in
man.
fitness. I mean,
So you had no idea.
I never lifted a weight in my life. I never went to a gym. I never even thought about it. And I was 20, 20, no, I was 25 when I did the inauguration for the president, and Mrs. Bush, the second one, was in charge of official proceedings, which is them being sworn in and like all the official stuff.
So all the stuff that you see on stage on
yeah,
TV,
everything that has to make him constitutionally president, me and two other people were responsible for organizing.
Yeah.
So did that. And everybody's, in DC fighting for, we got to go back to the White House. So all these people are stabbing each other in the back. The wolves come out, right? All your friends turn on you because everybody wants to go work in the White House or some influential party member. So I was trying to vie to get back in the White House. We're all focused on that. Meanwhile, a guy actually that I had, we have volunteers that help us on the road, like I did in college. Some guys are older business professionals because we need more people to help, but they're, good party members. So they would help us on the road with all of our events. And so one of the guys actually was working for Arnold Schwarzenegger as his director of advance, which is what I did.
Which is what you were doing.
Well, I was not the director, but I was in the advance. Well, it was what I was doing. So he kept calling me and saying, "Hey, come out to California. You should come work for Arnold." And I was like, "Arnold Schwarzenegger." I was like Jesse Ventura? No, no, I'm not doing that. I'm like the guy from Terminator, whatever.
That's the guy.
Yeah. And so I was like, nah. This is some celebrity governor thing. I'm not doing that. I'm going to work for the president. And so
this makes perfect sense for me, but at the same time, dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, he called 5 times over probably like a 2-month time frame. Meanwhile, I was set and staying in DC. And then I finally said, because politicians are cheap, right? So they're not going to pay for me to fly out there. That's like corporations. I said, pay for me to fly all the way across the country, put me up in a hotel, and I need to meet the guy if you want me to be his advance representative, or I was deputy director. If you want me to be that close to him, spending every day with the man, I need to get to know him, see if we even vibe. And I was thinking they're not going to. So the next day he called me. He's like, "We're booking you a ticket." I was like, "All right." Flew me out, put me up in the Hilton, which is actually where he stayed all those years. He had a suite on one of the floors they took over because he never bought a home in Sacramento. And so he lived there. I didn't even know. And I was staying there at the time. And I remember opening my blinds and there was like the California Capitol. And I'm like, "Oh, this is interesting." I was like, "I don't know if I want to be here. I'm so far away from DC." I obviously was born in California, raised in Texas. So I was like, this maybe could be interesting coming back to my state. But I was kind of depressed. I was like, this isn't going to go well.
Well, I mean, you'd been coming off. I mean, how do you match or do better than where you'd come from?
I mean, it's kind of tough. Yeah. And we can talk about that. But being a 22-year-old working for the most powerful man in the world, and I don't mean to be arrogant, but people, it went to their head for some people. I felt just super humbled to be there every day, living history, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And later in life now, I'm like, damn, most people end their career with that, not start their career with that, because it makes everything else boring. So I've struggled with my own eat later with different jobs in life. How do you come back from working for the president?
It's like being a pro athlete, maybe,
right.
Or, I hear from even you made the military reference, guys, these operators that are coming back from just being deep into combat and not knowing how to adjust or come out of that. I mean, the adrenaline rush, the constantly being switched on, everything's high speed. You're making split second decisions,
Absolutely,
life and death decisions all the time. You're
given a lot of authority.
You're given it. There's so much there to come back to kind of the regular world. How do you make that adaptation?
Right.
Same with, and going back to pro sports, I see, you see people really struggle, coming from fame in sports, or it's over for whatever reason, and they struggle. I mean, there's probably a lot of parallels.
I never thought of it that way until just now, and actually, that's very.
But what you said there was
very true.
How do you go from again being in this totally high speed, high profile?
I lived out of a suitcase mostly, and travel with these amazing individuals. And
let's be honest, Sacramento, California is not.
It's
Washington,
a little sleepy.
Yeah. So
and so I was like, okay. So I walked over to the Capitol and walked into the governor's office, which I thought was a little interesting. I'm like, okay, they're actually letting me do all this. So I didn't think they were going to do this. So I walk in. I remember walking into the big there's an office between the governor's private office, and there's this big table. It's iconic because like Reagan was there and all the amazing individuals. And so I walk in and there's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I was like, and he like shook my hand. He said, "Oh, good to have you, Matt." All that stuff. And we hit it off. Like that was probably the only person that I misjudged in my life. And it was actually a good thing.
What were you, wait. So when you say misjudged, what were you thinking versus what you got?
I thought he was just some like celebrity governor that was like out of touch. That was like this, goofy bodybuilder who was very arrogant and stuff. And to be honest, now 16 years later, having a friendship relationship with him, it's the most opposite of who he is. I mean, the guy came with $100 in his wallet, is a staunch patriot of America, and is a marketing genius, and taught me a lot about that. We can go into that. And just a smart, shrewd businessman. He's one of the larger landowners in the United States. And so, yeah, I just learned so much from him over the course of our together, and even still to this day. Yeah, I just totally misjudged him. And I knew at that point when I first met him that you could just tell something in his eyes that I was like,
okay, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah. Like, what's the moment where you go, oh shit?
I think the way that he, with all his fame, the way that he just met me with where I was at and like, was like, "Matt, good to meet you. So happy to have you here. You'll be a part of the team. I'd love to have you." Like, he was just very honest. And I later found out, he's actually very introverted, and, he can be introverted and extroverted, but he, like smoking stogies, playing chess. He's very focused. He's loves reading books and things. So there's just, it's a different side of him that I finally saw, the real Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Interesting.
And so I was like, okay, yeah, I want to come work here.
And just like that.
And then from then on, yeah, I called my mom, I remember, and saying, "Hey, I'm moving to California." And so I did that. And then he took me on a whirlwind tour of seeing amazing things in the world and meeting crazy people. And I think the best thing is, though, the relationship that we still have.